Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Welcome back, everybody, to the Near Memo with David, Mike, and me, talking about this week's developments in search, social, and commerce through a local lens. And as always, we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to just jump right in with both feet and heads and limbs. Today, we're going to be talking about Amazon local ads, Ahrefs' new search engine, and then we're going to be talking about Apple and its WWDC announcements, especially around Spotlight and Siri. And so this week, we had a technical malfunction a minute ago, so we're doing okay. I don't want to go off on some diatribe and then only have to do it again. Okay, good.
We're still with you.
All right, great. So Amazon posted some jobs for local ads, for a new business unit within Amazon Ads that's going to develop, quote unquote, the future of local ads. And it's as elaborate as the job description is, it doesn't really reveal much about the program. They talk about media partners, and they talk about building the future, as I just mentioned. So, is this going to be purely on the Amazon platform? Is this going to be a syndicated product that goes out to third parties? My guess is yes to both, but we don't know. And it'll be fascinating to see what eventually shows up once they get this in place. This is, Amazon is the number 3 ad player in the market after Google and Facebook, with something like 31 billion last year in ad revenue. That's clearly a growing market for them. And the absence
position that against Facebook and Google's numbers. Facebook's 150 and
Google was well over 2. I'd have to look it up. Well over 200. Yeah. So it's still small fraction of what the other two are making.
Something like 8 times Twitter or something like that. It's not.
Yeah, Amazon is far and away the number 3 player in this space, and the thing that's interesting about Amazon is that they were early into local on the consumer side, but abandoned those efforts. For example, they had a thing called Block View, which was part of their A9 search unit, and that predated Google Street View. And they actually own some patents, which are probably implicated by Street View, but that's a different conversation. They also had a Yellow Pages product, for a long time that they abandoned. And they've done some stuff around trying to make local services available in conjunction with products on their platform. But these have all been kind of half-hearted or incomplete efforts. And, I think they got scared by the ground game that you need to have if you're dealing with small businesses. But now this may be different because it's probably substantially a technology play. And local ads, of course, aren't just for small businesses, therefore multi-location brands and anybody who's trying to drive, offline sales or foot traffic, which is most businesses in the country still. E-commerce is still about 20%, even with the big pandemic bump that it got. So, we're looking at 80-ish% still fulfilling and transacting in a local context. So,
do you think this is taking place? I mean, Walmart last week we talked about them being able to warehouse and deliver local products for local businesses. Do you think that Amazon's likely goal is to do something similar?
Yes, I mean, I think they have
move those products and then warehouse local products.
Yeah, I think they're offering delivery for local businesses. I think they announced that. I mean, that was a recent announcement. So I think that's very relevant. The ads will help with that fulfillment, that logistics piece, I suspect.
So in some ways, it looks to me like there's Google with their high integration with available products doing a search play on this, but no last mile delivery.
Right.
There's Walmart that has last mile delivery in the rural and suburban areas and is now moving into third party servicing of warehousing products and so on. And then there's Amazon. It seems to me that what we're seeing is the beginning of the sort of sumo wrestlers sort of staking out their own territory, getting ready to jump into the ring and go belly to belly, as it were.
Well, interestingly, Google did have, as we've discussed in the past, they did have their express delivery service, which they basically have walked away from. And there may still be some some hint of an operation there. But that was a big part of their strategy, and then they decided that that was not going to be profitable for them.
They still are working on drones, though.
Yeah, but I mean, well, it remains to be seen how much coverage you can get with drones. You certainly can't go dropping stuff on people in urban areas. In New York, what the hell is this? Boom, hit people on the head. There's liability. There's all of that. You get the wrong package goes to the wrong place. So yes, there's definitely a sort of a last mile element here that Amazon has and Walmart has that Google doesn't have. So it'll be really interesting to see what actually appears when this gets off the ground.
It strikes me that most of the third-party delivery services are really, in the end, too expensive to succeed long haul in and of themselves, right?
Uber,
Instacart,
DoorDash.
That's DoorDash. The small businesses can't afford the cost of those as a standalone service, and so they're going to go out of business. They've been running unfavorable unit economics, i.e., they're running at such big losses. How long can they stay around?
Google could partner with, conceivably one of those firms.
I suppose, although I did calculate Uber Eats had about a 4-year runway given the amount of money they raised in the stock market.
Somebody brought up the point that, if they've been losing money up till now and they get more volume to scale, they're just going to lose more money in the future. Yeah. These economics can't be turned around in most cases. So
yeah, I mean, and recruiting drivers has been a kind of a problem ever since the pandemic, because there's, the cost of gas, which the drivers bear substantially themselves. That's a fundamental problem.
So do you think this puts Google at a disadvantage in this whole scenario, I guess, vis-a-vis Walmart and Amazon or do you think that they would partner up with Amazon or Walmart to?
Well, Google's not going to partner with Amazon. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, Amazon's buying ads, though. I mean, they could buy ads.
Google did partner with Walmart, though, I thought, for Google Express.
And also ordering through Google Home, the Google Assistant devices. They had a pretty interesting, Walmart did I don't know if it's still alive, a pretty interesting reordering e-commerce initiative where, you would sign in, and then they had your grocery list and you could reorder stuff that was on your list, which I thought was pretty interesting and a clever way to do it. So you don't have the kind of cold start problem that would otherwise exist. But Google's got Google and Amazon have massive consumer audiences, and Walmart does too, but not quite to the same degree. So I think Google's still got a built-in advantage in terms of the eyeballs. And there was a digital commerce 360 survey that I wrote about last week or 2 weeks ago. I wrote about retailers and what they saw as the most, consumers and what they saw as the most influential channels or most influential marketing vehicles. And we talked about email being number one. They did a companion survey with retailers that talked about search being the most effective new customer acquisition channel. So search has built-in
paid search, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was paid search, organic search. It was like paid search, product listings, which is organic, and then content, which is another version of search in all likelihood. They're not probably talking about their blogs. They're talking about content and organic search results. So that there's built-in advantages there that for both sides of the market that should keep Google in a very strong position going forward. But I wouldn't underestimate Amazon by any stretch of the imagination, but they just have this kind of mixed track record in local to date.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.